the topics that we discuss on this show, they never really fully go away. And even though like this seems like it is an April Fool's bit. Wait, what do you got there?
I'm sorry.
What do you got there?
The nocturnal leads. Sorry. Go on.
No, so even though this story may sound like it is an April Fool's joke, I assure you it is not, because the stories broke yesterday on the normal Fool's Day. Havana syndrome is back. Havana syndrome is back. There was a 60-minute story about it last night. And talk about the king of April shenanigans. Michael Weiss has a new article up on some website I've never heard about, talking about Havana syndrome and how it's real.
Is it Puck?
No, it's not Puck.
Wait,
I've never heard of these things.
The name of this website, it's called The Insider.
Fucking,
it says reports, analytics, investigations, and it says unraveling Havana syndrome. New evidence links the GRU's assassination unit 29155 to mysterious attacks on U.S. officials and their families. And like, I think this is coming after like a year, 2 years now, when like the American scientific, like people have just said like there's no known existing technology that could reproduce these results. We have no idea like this is real. And then another report I read last week that showed that like all of the supposed victims of Havana syndrome show no brain damage or any lasting side effects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, like even if it does exist, it's not that bad. I mean, like
I want them to do the fucking like fake white lady disease like Instagram turned it where they're like selling jewelry they made on Etsy or something like that. Like they need to start like going into the pashmina business. Like find the silver lining to your hypochondriasis.
Insider seems like the website that Eddie Brock and Venom work for. It's such a fucking fake website.
Yeah,
there's so
like the opening montage of Venom where they're showing Eddie Brock's life, and he's like,
Eddie Brock with boots on the ground today in the Mission District, chasing a lead. Everybody knows that Silicon Valley overlords at Google. Last Facebook, time I was poking around asking uncomfortable questions. Homelessness is only increasing into the thousands.
I do a lot of things like investigations, analysis, riding motorcycles. just the weather, but I'm digging into the GRU. But no, I just wanted like Jacob Silverman shared this anecdote from the Michael Weiss piece, and I wanted to share it with you guys and just see if you can find like any possible reasons to be skeptical of this story. It says here, the first sighting may have happened exactly 7 years earlier. Contrary to the information that has been made public about Havana syndrome, that it began in the eponymous Cuban capital in 2016, there were likely attacks 2 years earlier in Frankfurt, Germany, where a U.S. government employee stationed at a consulate there was knocked unconscious by something akin to a strong energy beam. The victim was later diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury and was also able to identify a Geneva-based Unit 29115 operative. The incident occurred within months of Russia's 2014 invasion of Ukraine, in which a stealthy, nearly bloodless seizure of the Crimean Peninsula in February and March 2014 gave way to a roiling 8-year-long dirty war in the eastern industrial heartland of Donbass, close to Ukraine's border with Russia. So this is just stated that like he was knocked unconscious by something akin to a strong energy beam.
They don't know for sure. We're saying it's akin to a strong energy
Did anyone see the strong energy beam? Like what?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like what's like a strong energy beam,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it isn't. Like
it's like either there's an energy beam type weapons or there aren't.
It's like that thing where you like, you take the straw halfway down, the straw paper halfway down, and then you blow it at something.
Yeah, like the thing that always drove me crazy with Havana syndrome, and like this one specifically, because it's the most egregious of this, it's like, okay, if you're firing like, either sound waves or radiation out, right? You can't, unless it's a laser, like chances are you're going to like hit a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you were like firing a sound wave that gave someone like diarrhea, like whatever this is, how like only one guy is reporting that this happened, like in this instance, that it didn't hit anyone else.
It's one of my favorite like later era Simpsons jokes where it's like the CIA or whatever, and they're saying, "What do we get from the satellite footage? Just a bunch of roofs."
But yeah, and it's like if Russia had like basically a rail gun that can make anyone depressed. Right? That's what we're saying they have. Why aren't they just like blasting 20 of those at Kiev right now? Like they're doing better in that war now, but like when they started getting owned and like they lost all those Su-34s, why weren't they like, oh shit, how many depression rays do we have?
Well, different wars require different weapons, and this is the invisible war. This is the invisible energy war, and they're sapping the energy of our diplomats who like wake up and they're like, I have a headache, my tummy hurts. I think I may have been hit with a invisible energy directed weapon just this weekend. Because, I mean, I went out and like, normally when I drink 10 to 12 beers, I feel fine the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like the next day, I don't know what happened. I felt terrible.
I don't know. Maybe the baseline for Kiev depression is just way more. Slavs, they're probably impervious to sad shit at this point.
Yeah,
That's a
what they're
great
using it on
point.
Western diplomats.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
It's like people who build up an immunity to just arsenic.
But there's the line. He was knocked unconscious by something akin to a strong energy beam. Where it's just like, I don't know, like maybe like you are rendered unconscious, but you're just like, I woke up and you're like, how were you knocked out? I don't know, but it was something akin to a strong energy beam that I experienced before. But there's another detail in here I want to talk about, where it says here, the victim was later diagnosed with traumatic brain injury and was also
akin to a strong energy beam,
and was also able to identify a Geneva-based unit 29115 operative. Like, what does that mean? Like, he was able to, so he saw a guy on the street of Frankfurt. Was this right before the energy beam rendered him unconscious? Or did he just see a guy that, like, they showed a photo to and they were like, does this look familiar? And they're like, my God, it's him.
Wait, who is this guy again?
29155 guy.
Who's this guy again?
It was a U.S. government employee stationed at the consulate in Frankfurt, Germany.
That doesn't mean anything. Did he did he work in the mailroom? Like, what the fuck is this? Why are we listening to this person with like Art Bell ideas? We don't even know his credentials. Yeah. He could be a security guard.
It's also like, I'm assuming this guy is probably a spy because like that's the only people Havana syndrome happens to.
But he has like a brain injury.
Yeah.
That could just be a normal guy who got clocked a few more times.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
They don't specify like how he picked this guy to the lineup, but it's like, if he is a spy, it's like, well, yeah, I hope you know who's in GRU. Like, aren't you supposed to? Like, they're proving that he was hit by an energy weapon by saying he's like somewhat competent at his job.
Mm-hmm.
It's like proving a USDA employee was attacked by Magneto. Like, look, they can identify different types of cows.
I recognize that helmet anywhere.
Yeah. It's also like, did he see the guy during or before?
Well, that's the question. Like, it's just like this is just he was able to identify a Geneva-based Unit 29115. It's just like it's like now we have to know about Unit 29115 or 155.
Yeah,
like
this whole thing feels like a Liam Neeson
it's just more
movie.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
even down to the name of the publication, where like all Liam Neeson movies are called like The Guy.
Yeah. Liam Neeson would write for Insider in a movie. I would love to see him play a journalist in the Havana Syndrome movie.
After the incident, I took it upon myself to stalk the streets of Dublin looking for more Unit 29115 operatives.
He's almost never in Ireland. He's always in like Texas or something, and they never explain why he has an Irish accent. In that movie, like the Ice Truckers or whatever, his brother doesn't have an Irish accent. Never explained. At one point he says, "My Irish ass," and like his brother's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I mean, he has like